All right, it's that time of year. A cute little conference is around the corner in a small, quaint little town called San Francisco. You might know it as RSA. And if you'll be at that conference, so will we. But it is my first time at RSA, and I've got questions. I want to know what it's like, what I should expect, what's going on, what to look out for, what kind of technology will be showcased. And so to have that conversation, I have Francis Odum joining the podcast. Francis is the founder of Software Analyst Cybersecurity Research, which is a Substack that publishes a lot of really well researched reports on the cybersecurity landscape. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back for another episode of Let's Talk About It. We've got Francis back in the house. Welcome back for another episode, Francis. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Actually, this is maybe the first time ever in my many years of podcasting that I've interviewed the same guest twice. This has never happened to me before.
Cool. Well, look at that. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Not speaking with you guys. That's awesome.
And we have a very exciting topic to talk about today, which is RSA, which is coming up next week, which is very exciting about. And so I believe that this will be your second time attending, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, this is my first time. And so I have a lot of questions about what it's going to be like, what's going to go on. So when you went last year, what was the vibe like? Can you tell me more?
Yeah. I- oh man, where do I even begin from? There's so much. Like it feels like people say people always talk about the fact that this is like the gathering of all the cybersecurity nerds in the world. It's like a pilgrimage time for everyone inside. It's like both RSA as well as Black Hat, and so at some level it's an exciting time because it's like all of your friends on LinkedIn, or if you have Reddit friends, or all of your online digital cyber friends, you actually get to see them physically in person. You see who's tall, who's small, who's everything, right? And like you just get to see it in just the energy of having everyone. I think on that front it's exciting, but I think on the other front too, it's never. And then obviously for vendors, obviously it's a good time to get prospects, because there's CISOs, there are practitioners, there's everyone to really get that excitement. But on the other hand, it could be quite chaotic, just to want people of like, I think, I don't know, don't quote me, but 70,000 or roughly, or somewhere around that number is like usually how many people. And so it can get quite chaotic where you're just jumping from meetings to meetings to happy hour. And so it can usually, you always ask people right after on the last day or so, how many days would it take you to recover? Or like, have
Yeah.
you recovered for a while? Because you actually do need it's like you just came out of like something. And so that's kind of like the energy you get with RSA. But honestly, more generally excited. We're excited.
Yeah, okay. No, that's so true because I already am like, oh my God, all my friends are gonna be there. This is gonna be so exciting. I know so many people who are going because everybody's going, so it'll be great. But yeah, it's gonna be so busy. I already have a packed schedule of like 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. every single day.
Yes, tell me about that. Tell me about that. Yeah, I mean, what does your schedule even look like? Even, I mean, do you have an idea of like how many meetings you're going to be doing? Because I think I mentioned this before we started. I have about 40 meetings in roughly about 48 to 50 hours, which is
That's
like
so
I,
crazy.
I don't even know how I'm gonna even make that work at all. But what about you? How
Yeah.
what's that looking like?
I have breakfast meetings to attend, and then I've got the conference floor from 10 to 6. And then I will be going to events after that as well. And then within the conference floor, obviously at D3, we have a lot of integration partners. And so I'll be going around to all of our integration partners. We have over 800 integrations. So I've got a lot of work to do to visit all of these people and all these booths. But yeah, I'll just be like running around the floor basically, talking to people and getting to know all of our partners. And then I'll be at the booth as well. So if anybody wants to come by and say hi, we'll be demoing Morpheus all day, which is exciting. And just like I'm excited to go and check out all of the different booths and see the new technology that's coming up and like just see what people are working on, you know? Like it's such a good time to view a showcase of so many different vendors and what's going on. What are you the most excited for?
Man, like I feel like, could you even say that? Do you even have a choice to say that instead of the number one topic that's on everyone's mind, agentic AI and
Of
AI,
course.
like all of this, right? Actually, for the first time, like I feel like last year RSA, I mean, the hype on AI too was like fairly there, but like it, I'm not putting it didn't hit quite as much. There wasn't just like the significant advancements, like for example, even AI stock, right? Like looking at this space of like how we're automating a lot of things within the SOC, we didn't have that much excitement. Like, I mean, there was buzz around AI and ChatGPT at the time, but I genuinely feel like this time around, there will be a lot more to see from vendors and like a lot of the new innovations in AI stock. So I think what would be more interesting is we're getting to see like real practical demos of some of these capabilities, right? I mean, one of the fancy things with RSA is you get socks, you get swag, and all of this, but it's like, okay, like show me something pretty cool about your product in person. And so I think I'm actually more eagerly looking forward to seeing those from the different vendors and just all the different vendors showing different ways everyone's using AI at some way, right? To
Right.
enhance, cut cost, automate task, and so on. So yeah, it's kind of
Yeah. And no, it's like so interesting this time as well. Exactly what you're saying. There is a lot more advancement, I think, in AI and agentic AI from last year. And even within that, there's so many different offerings and so many different technologies that are available. Like you can have some people are offering one agent, some people are offering five agents, some people are offering make your own agent. So there's so many options available, and everyone is kind of saying a similar thing. So let me ask you a curveball question here. Well, when you go to these vendors and you're stopping by their booths and checking out their technology and you're walking by and everybody and you know all of the posters and stuff, they all say the same thing. The wording is exactly the same. Like it's all exactly the same message. So how do you approach that and talk to vendors and figure out what is going on behind the marketing speak?
a good question. Very, very good question of like how do you like yeah, filter the noise versus the ones that are hype.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it all comes down to the outcomes of what you're driving. And ideally, in the best case, what are the pain points? What are the customer problems you're solving? And what are some of the results that you've actually seen? I want to hear like we cut down X number of customers MTDR from X number to another number. Like because I think even on our last podcast we had this conversation of a big part of the major progress we've had in AI in the SOC has been more theoretical, very much more about the possibilities, what's
Mm-hmm.
possible, what's capable. And I think we're getting to this stage where it's like, okay, and then obviously now MCPs are the new hype thing now in the AI world. But the whole thing now is I feel like practitioners and CISOs and leaders are like, okay, well, that's good. We know, and I think now you're not going to educate anyone on what the possibilities of AI in the SOC is. Like we all know what that is. We've been fairly well educated. I think now it's like, okay, what does that practically look like when implemented? When like putting, what does that actually look like? And could you actually show me examples of successful case studies or like successful outcomes? Like show me the numbers, show me the metrics of what you're cutting down, how are you driving ROI and driving outcomes for SOC teams based on what your company has. And I think that's going to be the real things of like, give me any evidence of what you've been able to do. And I think that's where the nail hits the rubber. And I think that's, at least for me, that's where I'm more focused on. It's like, no, don't show me what's capable at this point. Show me, number one, what you actually have, why yours is a differentiated approach from another vendor who's also claiming, because a lot of vendors are going to have things around AI and everyone's going to give the same message, but it's like, show me how you're different. Importantly, how are you driving outcomes? Do you have even a case study, an example? You don't have to mention the customer's name, but you might say, hey, we've done X, Y, and Z for this customer cohort. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And like, yeah, exactly what you said, sorting through the noise of the vendors, of the marketing messages, of what people are saying is going to be very interesting. And I think there is also a kind of layer of what people are talking about with AI and SOC of like agentic versus non-agentic. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, at the end of the day, you could look at it in different ways, right? Like, obviously, we always talk about like this, we break down the SOC into tier one, tier two, tier three, like in terms of levels of capabilities. Like when we think about human, because at the end of the day, we're trying to get a machine or a robot to actually do what humans are actually doing. And so the way I kind of break it down is like there are several levels of sophistications for human skills required within the SOC, like just taking the SOC obviously as an example. And then when we talk about the potentials of what we have with agents versus like a full autonomous agent, I think one is you're leveraging a machine and AI really, quite frankly, to assist you to whether that's like we talked about this even the last time about like case reporting, a lot of those very easy tasks or co-pilot capabilities where you're prompting and you're asking questions and you're interacting a lot more. And then I think where we start to talk about full agentic high capabilities is where the machine's just running on its own, right?
Hmm.
Actually doing the enrichment work, right? It's taking data from the source, whether that's a CrowdStrike or whatever, and it's picking out the source data. It's taking it to the SIEM. It's leveraging some threat intel feeds to enrich that data, and it's like resolving the case and automatically closing it off using something like D-Tree, right? And so, how do we go from an alert comes in, we investigate it, we do all the enrichment contextual work, and we're actually able to close the case, right? Go
Hmm.
from fully A to Z. We're not fully there yet. We're getting there. We're making huge progress, but I guess that's how I differentiate between the agentic capabilities that we currently have
Hmm.
on the market right now. And so yeah, that's how I say it.
Do you think one is better than the other?
I think it's all a case of like progressions. Like I don't know how to put it. Like you can't really say one is better than the other. I think it's where we're at in the technology evolution, right? Obviously, some vendors will talk about yes, they have like a fully how do I put it? Uh, some vendors will tell you about yes, we have a sophisticated agentic agent that's actually able to run all these things, but I don't know how much I feel confident we're there yet right now, but at the most important piece, what we do know is a lot of the vendors right now with a lot of the AI capabilities, they're leveraging some form of an agent, usually some type of an LLM, that's just designated to execute on just a specific task, workflow, or assist on with prompts or specific and you're still interacting a lot with that. And then I think eventually you're going to have an agentic AI that has full agency. It's able to set its own goals, it's able to progress itself, it's able to like self-correct automatically, it's able to like help you with very minimal. And a lot of this, quite frankly, the differentiation comes down to human intervention, how
Hmm.
much human intervention are you actually having to do. But so I don't think it's if ideally want to all get to this full agentic capabilities, but quite frankly, with all the work that I'm doing in the space right now, I don't think we're there yet. I don't think anyone's very confident of a fully capable AI that's very proactive, right?
Yeah.
Proactive and adaptive.
Yeah.
I think we're still much more in that reactive phase. But eventually we're gonna get to that stage where it's all fully autonomous,
Hmm.
right?
Yes,
And
your keyword here is eventually. So last time we spoke, you said that you think that like a fully autonomous tier one will happen in like 5+ years. Do you still feel that way?
exactly, and that I guess I mean it's the way I'm hinting at that with kind of how I differentiated between the agent versus the agentic activity. Yes, I do still, but although I will say, I mean maybe like the last month or two, like relative to the last time we had our conversation, I've seen some really good progress, from this. And then also too, I mean, you follow what OpenAI, Anthropic, and like MCP is one of the major, like obviously we've kind of had MCP, but we made like this significant breaches in how applications and things are actually able to talk to each other. So I mean, if let's just say the last time we chatted, I was like maybe 5 years ago away, I think we could cut that down into 3 years, right?
Okay,
Or
here we
even
go.
right? Uh, and it's just because of how fast this is moving, right?
Yeah.
I follow what the models that OpenAI releases, and like it's just amazing, just the level of progress. So we're getting there, but you know what? Cybersecurity is we're still gonna need humans in the loop. Like you're not gonna eliminate humans in the loop, right? I think that one we're not going to completely eliminate them in the loop, especially if it's a very complex enterprise and a highly complex SOC. You're still going to have human because things break or things
Yeah.
don't work as much as you expect. But could you see this like in a like mid-market type account, SMB type, where it's not a fully sophisticated SOC? Absolutely, you could see a lot of this agentic capabilities happening a lot sooner than you expect.
Yeah, especially
So,
for
so yeah.
just tier one, tier two, maybe some
Oh
tier two
yes.
activities.
Oh, definitely tier
That's gonna
one.
go for sure. Yeah.
That one, yes, definitely. I feel a lot more agentic capabilities are going to be significantly autonomous there. So yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like the self-correction or self-tuning mechanisms of auto-correcting, like, oh, we flagged this as an alert, and like maybe over time as an analyst reconnects that, it's able to actually self-heal itself. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Super cool. Yeah, and we at D3 we have a webinar on May 7th.
Oh,
It's
nice.
called
What is it about?
it's about fully autonomizing. Oh my gosh, how do you say this? Full automation of tier one and tier two. Having a fully autonomous tier one and tier two. And we have had more registrations than any other webinar we've had because this topic is so hot because everybody wants to automate all of tier one for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And right now, today on the market, the biggest thing we see right now is the fact that everyone wants to cut down on costs. Like a lot of SOC teams are under pressure, to do more with less, right? And I do think that's why a lot of practitioners are like, yep, we want to hear more, we want to hear more, we want to hear more. But but yes, I think yeah, we need to see the ROIs. We need to see the actual concrete talk around the actual implementations of making this possible across different types of stacks,
Hmm.
So that's kind of where we're at. So yeah, so again, RSA will be a good opportunity to actually physically meet people and have this in life because I feel like it's been a while since a lot of the conversations on AI SOC has been mostly online, digital, and we've seen announcement on LinkedIn and
Hmm.
what. But I think I myself I'll be visiting a lot of these vendors, and like actually getting, live demos,
Hmm.
and running a number of these. So it'll be very cool. And yeah, I mean, obviously I'm gonna pop by the D3 booths, kind of based on what you just mentioned. Some of what you guys have planned, I think that'll be pretty cool as well.
Yeah, you gotta come by, get a demo. We'll give you some swag.
I always
So,
love this swag.
speaking of this, okay, so there's like 5,000 vendors or something. I don't know, like a ton. There's two different halls that are packed full of vendors. Do you show up to these kinds of events with like a list of the places you're gonna go, or do you do like a full walk of the floor?
I mean, number one, I have my partners, if you want to call them. I have my partners that I work with like so obviously I do advisory work and a number of things for some vendors that I work with exclusively on. So obviously I gotta say hi to all my friends and vendors and whatnot. But yes, I will like actually no AI is because a lot of the times, I cover four major areas: security operations, cloud, and um, um, identity security as well as data security, data and AI security. And within these verticals, I have like key players that I think are doing really cool and interesting things. But even specifically like the AI stock market, I do have like my list of vendors. So I'm like, okay, I gotta go try to hunt them down and like
Yeah.
see them physically and say hi. So yes, I do have that. And in fact, there's some vendors who I can't have a physical meeting with them. Like I couldn't have an extended meeting because of my calendar being full. But I'm like, give me your booth number and I'll come hunt you down and I'll come say hello to you as well.
I know,
So
but you're so busy. Like, do you have to make like a plan of the booth or like the floor map and be like, okay, this one first, then this one, then this one? Like,
it's hard because the problem is if you, yeah, you're gonna come to ours and you'd see it yourself, but the numberings sometimes are not that clear. So I like I can't tell you how many times I get lost or I go into this direction trying to like find
yeah.
like where is this, where is this, where is this, where are these guys? And one of the problems too in cyber because it's such a small community is the fact that you end up bumping into friends like, oh, yay, that's you. Like,
Yes.
and then obviously, unfortunately, I mean, with the nature of my work, a lot of people know me,
Yes.
and I'm actually gonna cover my face. I'm gonna wear the hat because I'm like, I don't want to have too many unexpected random bumps ups. But actually, sometimes those are where some of the best conversations come on. It's like, oh, hey, like that's you, and it's like you
Yeah.
get to another half an hour conversations of impromptu, and you even forget where you're going. So but it's always very exciting. It's always very
Yeah. Yeah, I always think about how a conference must be from like a CISO perspective, let's say, and just walking around and everyone's trying to get your attention, everyone's
I
trying to
think
get
they
you in
cover
that
their
booth.
face. Oh no, not
Yeah.
like, but
Like,
or
don't
not
look
like
at
cover
me.
their face, but like they just don't even like
Yeah. No eye contact.
a good CISO probably just wear a t-shirt, behave like he's some random person.
Yeah. It's so funny. So with that, what do you think is the best conference swag you've ever gotten?
Ooh, that's a good one. I mean, maybe we could start off with like what are ones that are not good. I mean, you
It's got
know,
the standards, like everybody's got the socks, the stickers, the
exactly,
notebook.
exactly. They all have like the standard. I'm looking around my room and I'm like,
What is the
and
best one?
trust me, I have a lot of swag. Man, that's a good question. I mean, obviously, it's usually maybe more on the somewhat expensive side, but usually maybe vendors keep that like separate or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, I
Surely
feel like
you have access to the best swag that's under lock and key, though. They see you, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's Francis! Come over here.
yeah,
Let me give you my best swag."
yeah. Man, I don't know, like, I don't know. Oh man. Like I feel like it's so hard to differentiate yourself these days, quite frankly, with
For
people's
sure.
lives. It's so hard, but like usually anything like more electronic, I actually don't mind. Like I think someone has given me a headphone before. Someone has given me like a sport gear or something like that. Those are some of like the really cool things. I was like, okay, this is quite.
Okay,
Because
yeah.
obviously you're not gonna have any like especially if you're gonna do this for everyone, you're not gonna have a lot of differentiation. But I'll be curious to see if you guys have anything cool or creative to share. Uh, well,
Yeah,
actually,
I
if you want
mean,
to share now, if you want to share now, maybe you could give us a hint of what to expect for swag. Uh,
yeah, we have some really great t-shirts, and some really fun
okay.
stickers, but I've been to some shows where they're like other vendors are giving out like super cool action figures. I like those, like things that sit on my desk. That's always fun. I mean, I have like a million different pairs of socks.
I mean, but honestly, I actually think like socks. Um, are very, it's a smart move, right? I
Because they're
can't tell
useful.
you. They are useful and you wear them longer than you actually expect to. And but I think some of my actually favorite swags have been very well decorated socks, like really like something that you'd almost get from a designer shop. Like
Hmm.
I can't tell you how
And
many
you
socks.
know, I wanted to make socks, okay? Like how smart is that?
Yeah,
I
look at
know.
that.
Socks.
Yes. But it's very cool. Like I can actually tell you. So those are those are actually not bad. I've also seen things like roller balls. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
like that's like actually one, or yeah, or like an iPhone case, something like a case with like the vendor's brand or whatever. But
Yeah.
obviously, a lot of these things are expensive. But if you do have that, I mean, if you get someone to use them on your case, like you're on your headspace,
For
right?
all day long, Yeah.
It's
For
maybe the
sure.
soft works too, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I think the swag is like the most fun part. Um, but you gotta go early, right?
But
Like
picky.
vendors are gonna
Yes,
run
you
out
gotta
of
go
swag.
early.
So you
Yes,
gotta go early. You gotta like walk,
exactly.
do a whole lap of the floor, check out what the best ones are. You don't want to take the bad stuff because the bad stuff, you don't have room in your suitcase. You gotta save it. So
Yes. Because yes, I actually always have a bag with me because there's like so much stuff you're picking up, right?
yeah.
And so yeah, you then have to be selective at like, I think it's fine. Like, thank you. Like I'm good. So yeah.
And now let's talk about RSA parties. How are you picking your parties? I guess you're getting invited.
Yes.
Okay. Like
Yes.
because there's only so many evenings, so you got to pick the best ones, and there's a lot of good parties going around.
Honestly, look, at the end of the day, you can't beat people, right? It's about the people that take you to the thing.
True.
You look at an event, you're like, okay, how many really good people am I gonna, or good, nice, and interesting people am I gonna meet at this event? So I do have that. But one of the coolest, like more general RSA events is a running one. So a vendor's actually doing a running event like pretty early, like maybe 6
Okay,
a.m.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that one on Tuesday morning. The other I was like, oh man, I hope I don't stay late on Monday night.
Are
To
you gonna
make
go? I also would like to run in San Francisco at some point.
yeah, at the Golden Gate Bridge,
Mhm.
right? Like the
It's
bridge.
beautiful. It's like probably the best one of the best running spots to go to.
Literally,
Yeah.
literally. That's a fun one. But yeah, at the end of the day, you kind of go by people. And then I don't know, I'm trying to think of, oh, I think there's someone doing an event at the jazz club. I think
Mm.
at that one, there's like mini jazz concerts at this like small club. I was like, okay, that looks kind of like differentiated. I'm like, okay, I think I'm actually gonna go for that one.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. So let's say for next year, RSA 2026, what's the best way to get your attention? Let's
You know,
get some
by the
advice for
way,
people
just
for next year.
one interesting advice though. I mean, I don't know, maybe this is like a bad thing, like RSM might not want me to talk about this, but one thing is like you do increasingly have some vendors who are like, we're not gonna participate and own a booth, but we're just gonna have a VIP spot at like a hotel next by to the Moscone
I've
Center.
seen so much of that.
Yes,
Yes.
I will say that it's a trend. It's actually a trend. I think if you even were to look at the relative number of like vendors coming out for booths at RSA, I think it's like not like significantly declining, but people are like, no, we're not going to do it. Like Palo, for example, Palo Alto Networks, I think it's obvious. It's
Hmm.
public available. They don't come. They're not coming. They didn't come last year as an example. But they announced a very cool event and they did like a whole initiative nearby or something like just to get
Yeah.
around. And
Like
so
I've
similar,
seen people who are like basically planning their own conference like 2 blocks away. They have like sessions, they've got people coming, whatever. I'm like, can you do that?
yeah, so literally it's a trend. And then because they already know the cyber world will be around and it's like next door, pretty close, but they're like, hey, look, we're hosting our small event. They have good food. Actually, they have I actually went for a few last year where they had really good food. So they just like have a VIP spot and they
Hmm.
bring their prospects. And so that maybe is a tip, I guess, for people to think about.
Yeah.
Is like or just some people have a booth as well as they have maybe a hotel or they kind of take a bar or a
Hmm.
restaurant like
Nearby.
want our
Yeah.
special guests to come over.
There are a million different side events going on for sure.
Exactly. So that's one thing I will say. And then I think looking into next year, I think it's going to be very interesting to see One of the problem people have with RSA is they just feel like it's a sales stuff
For sure.
and just feel like they're not getting anything tangible. And I'm hoping that changes gradually. And I think even for CISOs too, like I think there was a viral thread the other day on LinkedIn from a CISO who was like, I'm not going to RSA. It's a bunch of like salespeople harassing me and
That's
like
exactly what I'm saying. Like, so I feel like as a CISO, you'd be terrified.
yeah, literally. And so it's like, how do we make RSA more open, more like, how do we, especially it also comes down to the vendors. How do you make sure you're speaking value? And that's kind of like,
Hmm.
all right, show me, like, yes, like your demo should be around value creation and value added and ROI. Like, that's the language of what a CISO
Hmm.
wants, or even practitioners too
For sure.
are looking for. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
What's in it for me? Always. Yeah. All
exactly.
right. Great. Well, thank you so much, Francis. We'll definitely be seeing you next week. Everyone
Yes.
should stop by our booth. It's booth N4400 in the North Hall. So definitely come by, pick up your swag, get a demo, meet the team, say hi. We would love to see you. And if we want to find you and your work online, where can we look?
Thank you. Again, always great to talk to you and always enjoy our conversations. You could find me at softwareanalystsubstack.com and all my research reports are published on there.
Great. Thank you so much. And we are so excited about, the fully autonomous tier one, tier two. Next year at RSA, everyone will already be there. Despite your hesitation, everyone will already have a fully autonomous tier one.
Literally,
It's not
literally.
going to be 3 years from now, it's going to be next year.
Yeah, actually, that would be very interesting. Who knows? Maybe we have live robots or whatever walking on the floor and things like that. Who knows? Maybe that's where, yeah, I mean, with how fast this technology is moving, I wouldn't be surprised. So, yes, I think, yeah, but this is the AI SOC world, what you guys are doing at D3. I think this is the exciting, this is the topic of today, quite frankly, in cyber. And so, obviously, I will recommend people to go check out what you guys are doing as well as all the other vendors as well too. So,
Amazing. Thank you so much.
all right, thank you so much.